What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm back here at Gettle Nissan in Sarasota, Florida to check out this 2023 Nissan Maxima. A little bit of sad news. Some of you might already know that this is the end of the road. This is the last year of production for Nissan Maxima after over 40 years of being this iconic sporty sedan for Nissan. It's going to join Volkswagen Passat and Toyota Avalon and many other large sedans in the extinct category. So before it does, let's check it out. Let's take you on the complete tour of this vehicle, exterior, interior, test drive, the whole 9 yards. And by the way, if this is the first time we meet, my name is Matt here on Matt the Carguy. I post 2 car reviews every single week. If that's something up your alley, don't forget to check out the rest of my channel. If you like it, please subscribe, and also if you like this video, don't forget to leave me a like. The name Maxima has been around since 1981 when Datsun then renamed the Datsun 810, which was an import version of a Datsun Bluebird that was sold in Japan. So over 40 years we've enjoyed different versions and generations of Maxima, but right now it comes to an end. This is the last generation, this is the last model year. After 2023 we're no longer going to see any Maximas, and here's my theory on it. A lot of people switched over to the SUVs, I get it, but also like the Ultima, which is the mid-size sedan, grew so much that it's bigger than the 90s and the 2000 and early 2000 Maximas were. So how much bigger do you need the vehicle to be? Now this is also the last of the front-wheel drive, naturally aspirated V6 full-size sedans that are in existence. So let's check this out today. Well, I like the hood design. I do like this little bulge that's kind of different than what we see on the other vehicles. It kind of pops over here, spreads wider towards the windshield, and then the hood itself is pretty nice and long. It ends right here with those fully LED lights, daytime running lights, and this trim level is the SR, which is not the highest end trim. I was kind of debating whether to do the Platinum or the SR. Decided with this because it does have much cooler exterior and interior with almost the same feature, on a few differences on here. So you do have this piano black grille, brand new Nissan logo, and this is the only Maxima that will ever have that. So the 2023 is the only model that's going to have the new Nissan logo. Scrolling down over here, you do have the LED fog lights. Now this is non-functional, this is just a trim piece, and then you have this bottom piece over here that's also in this piano black. We'll see what powers up this thing. Before we take a look underneath the hood, let's check out the hood itself. It does have the hood struts on both sides, sound insulation right here, and what's underneath is a 3.5 liter V6 naturally aspirated 24 valve dual overhead cam engine, 300 horsepower, 261 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an X-tronic transmission from Nissan, which is basically their way of calling the CVT. It does have some pretty cool shift modes and pretty cool shifters. 0 to 60 is about 5.8, which is respectable for the class. So this is a full-size sedan. So how long is it? Anyways, it's 192 inches long, which is pretty large. It is the size of a mid-size SUV basically. I do like the styling, even though, like I said, it's not new. It does have a certain characteristics of it. I do like this line over here that kind of floats. That makes it more luxurious and sporty too. Now this SR trim is equipped with the 19-inch rims that are in this glossy black color with the new Nissan logo right inside of here, and then you do have the same 19-inch rims in the back. Now there's nothing too crazy about it. They're a little bit more sculpted underneath it, and it does have a slightly little bit of a side skirt right at the bottom. You do have a turn signal inside of the mirror, and that is pretty much it. The mirror are also the color, black color, as well as the pillars are. Now, this is what Nissan calls a floating roof design, which you have the black front pillar, the A pillar right here, and then you have the separating thing that kind of makes it look like the roof is detached from the vehicle actually. What's also pretty cool about it, it does have the panoramic sunroof, and the surroundings of the sunroofs are painted in this glossy black as well. Kind of a very unique design. It does have the smart entry system, okay, push to lock and push to unlock. So and there's no sensors, but you do have to push the button, but you don't have to push any on the key fob. Let's check it out from the back. The rear end is definitely my favorite view of this SR trim. I gotta tell you, it looks very, very nice, especially when you look from here. Now, the surroundings of this panoramic sunroof are black as well, and that continues into this tinted glass in the back. Really, really nice. You do have a shark fin antenna for the radio. You do have a decklit spoiler that's much larger than on some of the sporty sedans. Trim piece that's all blacked out, kind of connecting those fully LED taillights. Maxima on one side, SR on the other. Of course, you do have the rear view camera. Now, if you scroll down over here, you see that there are dual exhaust on both sides. Now, guess what? Only one of those dual exhausts, and that's the inward ones, is the real one. The outward ones are not. They're fake, but they still look pretty cool. You also do have this diffuser trim down at the bottom. And then let's check out if we have any room in the trunk. Well, nice trunk space. I gotta tell you, the seats, as you can see, they fold down 60/40, and you can do that by pulling on these things right over here. Right next to it, you do have the hooks for groceries, and they're on both sides. And then this particular one has this cargo organizer also in the back. You do have the floor mat for the trunk, and underneath that, you do have a spare tire. Now, this is a temporary use spare tire, but it is there. With Maxima being a full-size sedan, I would actually expect a little bit more space in the back. Now, I'm barely touching my knees to the front seat, and the front seat is adjusted to my regular driving position. I am 6 feet tall, so I shouldn't be complaining, but I do find that I have more room actually in the Altima than I do have in here, so that should be the other way around. Right now, I do have about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches above my head, and that's due to this panoramic sunroof being here and the roofline kind of sloped down in the back. Well, shoulder-wise, for 2 people, definitely enough. But the interior is super cool. Let's check this out. Interior out, starting with the rear door panel, and right away you can see that it does use some higher quality materials than on the different models that they're producing, right? So you do have a lot of soft touch materials. You do have some leather wrapping or leather looking materials. You do have some contrast stitching over here, a little bit of this 3D trim underneath. You have the door handle and the window control, a little bit of storage right at the bottom of the seat. But the interior is super cool. Let's check this out. So first of all, you have this premium Ascot leather, which is the highest grade leather, really, really soft, almost like wearing a jacket type of leather. And you do have this diamond quilted Alcantara inserts right inside. Check this out. This is so cool looking. Of course, you do have the middle armrest that folds down. You do have a cup holders and the phone holder over here. And then the rear passengers as well. They have their own vents, and they do have the USB and the USB-C type port. Now, both seats have the seat back pocket. What I don't see is the climate control for the back. Well, not really necessary for this size sedan. It would be nice to have something premium, right? And check this out. It does have the moonroofs that are closed right now. I'm going to open it up. We can't forget about checking out the sound of the closing door. Boom. Actually nice, solid, nothing to complain about here. The front door panel, just like the rear one, with the addition to 2 memory seats and of course the window mirror lock controls. You do have a Bose stereo on this trim, and that's indicated right here on this tweeter. The bottom speaker, it doesn't have branding on it, but of course it is Bose too. It does have 11 speakers. So let's check this out. You do have the Maxima that's lit up on the door sill, and the power seats, right, for both driver and passenger. This is pretty cool. Sporty seats. They look awesome. They actually feel very, very nice and comfortable over here. The interior overall, it's very impressive. Let me show it to you. Well, so here it is, the interior of this 2023 Maxima. Let's check this out. Now, I do like I mentioned in the back, that Nissan uses a lot of the soft points, soft touch points over here. They look very, very cool. Even have this pretty cool looking hood over your instrument cluster. But what I like the most right here on this interior is the steering wheel. Now, you won't find that steering wheel on the Platinum, which is the highest end model, but SR, being the sporty one, gets definitely the sporty steering wheel. You get the flat bottom, really nice to the touch. You do have the Alcantara inserts, you do have a contrast stitching, and check these out. Now this pedal shifters, now it is simulated gears, I know, but the pedal shifters itself, it's like came out of the GTR, Nissan GTR, which probably they did. Now you do have the new Nissan logo over here, some buttons on both sides. Now this side controls what's going on in the instrument cluster. It also manages your sources, volume, and then this side controls your cruise control, and then we have the instrument cluster. Now one other thing that I want to mention, that this one does have the tilt and telescoping steering wheel, but it is manual. You will get the power one on the Platinum trim if that's what you wanted. Now as far as the instrument cluster, so you do have the more traditional instrument cluster with a screen in the middle. So on the left hand side, tachometer, speedometer is on the right, and in the middle, that's where you can change some of these things over here. So let's check this out, what we have. So we can have the source as far as your media, you can have your navigation, information screen, your trip meter, gas usage, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit, your safety items, and then you have your speed limit sign, tire pressure monitor. You do have more of a sporty appearance, which gives you the temperature of the transmission fluid, temperature of the oil. No items to review. There would be messages and settings. That's what you have right over here. Now this is what you have in the instrument cluster. Vehicle's got 763 miles. It used to be a demonstrator, I think. It is in park, 138 miles to go. So while we at it, let's talk about the gas mileage. 20 in the city, 30 on the expressway, 24 is the combined number. So not bad. This is non-hybrid, mind it, but a lot of people are getting used to those over 30 miles per gallon type of deals. Now, here's where you can see that you're looking at the design that's basically, 7 years old, 6 years old. Since 2016. So you do have a rather small screen. This is an 8-inch screen, but Nissan updated their software. I don't know for which year, but this is their newer software that they have. You do have a lot of hard buttons, and you do have a CD player. So for those of you that like listening to your CDs, you have one here. Vents on top, and on the side you have the menu, map, audio, volume, camera. So let's check this out while we're here. And yes, so you do have a 360. Quality of the camera, no, not so good. I mean, you see that a lot better on some of the competitors, but it is a 360 camera. You do have the active trajectory lines over here. And let's see, do we have any other angles? I don't see. Okay, so let's go back to the main menu, and on the other side of the screen you have your night and day button, so you can check this out. So let's push this one more time, and it's gonna either turn off completely, or you can turn it off to the day or night, and hopefully it's gonna come back. Let's hit the menu. There you go. Hit the menu, came back to life. So you do have the tune, scroll button, back button, and again tune and scroll button. Okay, resume display. Now at the bottom, before we get to the main screen, you have your climate control. So you have your dual zone climate control, and your shortcut buttons for here. And now let's see what's going on. So first of all, it is a touch screen. Okay, home location has not been saved. We're not going to save right now, but it's also controllable through these controller over here. So whichever one is easier for you, you have a couple options to control the screen. So what do we have? This is your menu, go home, so saved locations. Now you have your clock. Well, I'm probably going to just use my finger over here. Search POI or address. This is for your navigation. I want to see the map. Can I see the map? There you go. And unfortunately, this is still the same old map that Nissan's been using for a while. Quite frankly, I don't have much experience with it, so I don't know how accurate, how good it is, but the graphics on it are kind of outdated. And let's go back to the menu screen, and let's go over here so you can see that we have 71 degrees outside. Actually, I think it's warmer than that. And then you can choose SXM traffic, sports, fuel prices. So this is for your satellite radio. Go back to the screen. This is all we have. Well, this is your main menu. Underneath here, you have your phone, which I did have my phone connected. And it does have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, but they are not wireless. So info, you have the Nissan connected services, SXM weather, etc. Audio, here are your sources for the audio. Let's click the source button so you can see AM, FM, Sirius, XM, auxiliary, and Bluetooth audio. You also have the CD, but it's not highlighted, and 2 USB ports. So Apple CarPlay maybe doesn't have the Android Auto on the Apple CarPlay. Yeah, I think I'm right. Well, let's go back. We're not going to customize it, but hit the back button over here. So see, my phone is connected, but when I go to apps, there's some other phones that were connected before. I'm not sure if they were, well, this one I know was a Apple, right? Because it says 13 Pro Max and iPhone. So maybe it only does have Apple CarPlay. But scrolling down, we already went over to the shortcuts for your climate control. And down here, where it used to be the ashtray, I think, now we have the auxiliary USB Type-C, USB Type-A, a little bit more storage. You don't get the wireless charger with this, which is kind of a shame on this price point, which we're going to talk about. Engine start stop button, pretty cool placement of it. Actually, I probably prefer it to be here than behind the steering wheel, which you can't see. And you do have the shifter, okay, again, nicely wrapped over here with the contrast stitching. And then you can move it to your drive, move it to the left, and shift it. If you'd like to shift it manually from here, you can also shift it through the pedal shifters. Okay, cup holders. This is where you control what's going on on the screen. So you have the home, map, back, and then this is how you scroll to it. You also can move it right, left, and press it to select it. And turn off your traction control, and you do have a sport mode, which you can engage by pressing this button. Heated and ventilated seats for both driver and passenger. And again, I do like this stitching over here around this middle console. And in the back, you do have just a little bit of storage with an additional 12-volt outlet. So this is the bottom portion of the interior. Let's scroll it up. I told you it does have this dual roof. Okay, and here's how it opens. Okay, one touch operation. We have this open, we have the windscreen, and then the sun is too bright, so let's close that up. You do have LED lights that you control through here, sunglass holder, and illuminated mirrors. So this is what we have as far as the interior. Well, I'm curious of how this sports sedan drives. And here we are, guys, about to take it for a spin. But before we do, let's talk about the trim levels available for this last model year of production. So for 2023, Nissan Maxima starts with the SV, just like it was for 2022. And that vehicle starts at $38,140. The second trim is what I have for you today, and that's the SR, starting at $43,300. And at the top of the line is $44,250, and that's the Platinum trim. Now, the biggest difference is between this and the Platinum trim is on the exterior you see a lot more chrome on the Platinum trim. The interior is different. It's all leather. You don't have this Alcantara inserts. The steering wheel is not as sporty, but it does have the tilt and telescoping steering wheel. And if you're more of a fan of the chrome, definitely you can consider going as far as the trim levels for the Platinum. Now, the SR is the coolest looking in my opinion, and just has just about the same features as you'll find on the Platinum. So this would be my preferred choice. Now, price-wise, as you can see, these are not inexpensive vehicles, starting at $38,000, which were most of the mid-size sedan and not having the newest technology, could be one of the reasons too why Nissan is discontinuing that. On the road, this vehicle feels very nice. It feels confident. It does have this sporty vehicle feeling. Now I did switch it to the sport mode, so definitely stiffen up a little bit as far as the steering wheel. The suspension absorbs the bumps nicely, but it's not like overly plush like you can see on some of the Lexuses where it's kind of all over the place. Now we're going to check out the acceleration of it in just a little bit and see what we're working with here. I'm going to do some stoplight racing, maybe. Maybe not. Get it up to 60 right there, and it wasn't even like a full acceleration test. I was just basically trying to see how this vehicle handles, but it was very confident. I like the sound of the engine. It's not this girly noise. It does have more of a growl, if you will. So no question, I mean, this is definitely has that sporty feel that Nissan is referring to. Now this is also a naturally aspirated engine. I wonder what would be if they opted in for the new Z engine, which is a turbocharged. Definitely a sporty feeling. It definitely is a very confident vehicle on the road. It feels very well put together. I like the sound of the engine. Even the transmission doesn't really bother me as much. It does have some simulated gears, so I mean it's been tuned differently than just a regular CVT transmission. But it is an end of an era. I mean, all of those full-size sedans are being extinct, if you will. We said goodbye to Toyota Avalon, Volkswagen Passat. This is the last year of production, as well as the Nissan Maxima. Now the Chrysler's pulling a plug on the 300 as well. And what else is left? Really not much, unless you go with the Mercedes E-Class, or if you start going into the luxury cars, then you'll still find some of the sedans, but in the mainstream vehicles, this is it. So, well, the changes come with the needs of a customer, and changes always follow the money. So if somebody tells you otherwise, they're probably lying to you. But obviously this vehicle hasn't been selling as well as Nissan thought it would. That's why they're pulling a plug on it. So people are leaning more towards maybe the Altimas right now that are larger, maybe some of the SUVs that have a beautiful redesigned Pathfinder. So the market is shifting, and with that is the production needs of a manufacturer. So we're going to see a lot more changes like this coming across the line, but so far I think they've done a really nice job putting up the last production car, Maxima. And if you're anywhere in Sarasota, Florida, definitely check out the guys at Gettle Nissan of Sarasota. They're going to help you out with all of your automotive needs. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave me a like. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I want you to go ahead and hit that little red subscribe button. It really means a lot to me, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.